You love to network, but you do not like surface level conversations. How do you get a more in-depth conversation? How do you have relationships that are more long-term, the types of referral and collaboration partners that actually lead to your growth, to you making more money in your business, getting more introductions, and getting invitations to exclusive opportunities? We are going to talk all about that today. I'm Monique Alvarez, and I am a natural connector. I have been networking for, gosh, my whole life, I think. This is how everything in my life has happened, from being from a small town and moving overseas as a volunteer and going from country to country, starting a business, expanding it from an in-person, sort of local, to an online major brand that's been featured in every publication in the world. I can tell you, networking is how so much in my life has happened. So most people cannot take small talk. They can't take surface level. They don't want to book a collaboration call to spend 30 minutes on Zoom and walk away going, that was a waste of my time. If you're spending money to be part of networking groups, masterminds, in-person events, and you feel like you aren't getting the results that you want, this video is for you. So this is what I want to talk about. The best news I can tell you is that even if you're in an average networking group that maybe has a low barrier of entry, so meaning they don't vet the members, there's a very low price point or it's even free, and most of the people in that group do not know how to network, because that's the truth. Most people haven't been trained on how to network it. They're winging it every single meeting. Even if you're in a group or groups like that, what I'm going to show you today will improve your situation. Because what I can tell you, in every single networking event I've ever attended, even the worst ones, I've made one good contact. And because I knew how to take that contact and turn it into future meetings, it turned into more invitations and it got me into bigger and better rooms. So the first thing that I would say is this. Most people, when they network, they have high expectations of other people and no expectations of themselves. So the first thing that I would say is, if you want better relationships, you want better referrals, better introductions, better invitations, it all starts with us. So keeping in mind that people are not trained on how to do this, that they don't know you, your business, your industry, they don't know your hopes and dreams, they don't actually know what you want to get out of it. And they probably don't have the confidence to initiate and lead you through the process, which means you get to do it. And I will tell you, it's always worth it, because you stand to gain far more than anyone else when you actually know how to network. So this is what I will tell you, is that I don't believe in holding anyone hostage in a group, whether it's in a Zoom room or at an in-person mixer. If I connect with someone and I hit it off, I just like them immediately, we get each other, I don't spend the entire meeting with that person. Number one, it's not a good idea for me, and it's not fair to them. Because I think the first thing that people think is, oh, I like this person, I want to spend this whole 20, 30, 45 minutes with them. Let the spark happen. Let them know that you would love to continue the conversation, exchange information, whether that's in the private chat or face to face. And you might even go as far as setting up your next meeting right there while you're face to face. Hey, are you available tomorrow for tea? What I will tell you is if you will set that next meeting sooner rather than later, it will have more spark to it. So if I meet someone in a Zoom room and I can see them from across the room, I like their look, I like their vibe, I like what they say, I feel like I have something that we could create together, or I have introductions for them, or I feel like they would get what I do, I don't send them the link to my calendar and be like, pick a day. I tell them, hey, are you available in the next day or two just for a quick 15-minute chat? Because I want to capitalize, and I want to take that spark and that energy, that momentum that's alive right now, and get more of it as quickly as possible. And you'll notice I don't ask people for an hour of their time. So we had an initial connection. I'm going to ask them for a small amount of time. I'm going to ask them for 15 minutes one-on-one on Zoom, and I'm going to make sure I have a plan. This is what I will say is, when people create connection calls, collaboration calls, whatever you want to call them, calls post networking group. Number one, if you do that, you're doing what most people don't do. So congratulations. What I would say most people aren't doing in those calls is being prepared and leading the call so that a lot is accomplished in a short amount of time and there's a plan for the next call. The only way that we can build meaningful, true connections that support both people, support all involved, is to have these connection calls and these touch points over and over and over. No one is going to create an amazing bond and connection in one networking event and then hope that carries them. It's kind of like my whole feeling about long distance relationships. They take a lot more work to carry. So if you are aware of that, you're going to need to create, you're going to need to initiate it, you're going to need to reach out to them, you're going to need to have a plan. Do you have time today or tomorrow? You're going to ask them for a short amount of time. And then it's going to be your job to continue that. So to give you an idea of what this could result in, because I know a lot of people are like, networking takes time. You got to cultivate relationships. You got to make time for the actual meeting. And then you got to make time for calls outside the meeting. I have to pay to be a member. Is all of this worth it? So I want to tell you a story. So I always think of collaboration partners in terms of types of people, types of industries. And gosh, this was probably 3 or 4 years ago. I got this idea. So we publish collaboration books, and I was thinking about the various people who are connected to at least hundreds of people who would be a good fit for our collaboration book. So I thought of podcast hosts. So most podcast hosts, they interview people because those people want to share their story. They want to go public with their story. They want to expand their audience. They want to get into somebody else's circles. But most podcast hosts haven't figured out how to monetize their podcast, and they don't necessarily know the next step to take guests on. So they spend quite a bit of time, even money, in producing a show, but they don't necessarily have a next step. The other thing that I can tell you is most people who are on podcasts do not network with podcast hosts. They have the interview, they share it on social media, and that's the end of it. So I thought about this, how can I fill this gap and how can I make it better? Because I have been a podcast guest on hundreds of podcasts and I wanted to maximize it for myself. And then I thought about how can I make it worth it to the hosts? So one of the things that is required if you want to create the most dynamic relationships is you have to know what you want out of it. If you don't know what you want, it's going to be hard to get it. And put yourself in their shoes so that you know what they want out of it, what would make it worth it to them. So I began to approach every host that I had been a part of on their show. I asked them how many interviews they had done, and everyone who had done over 500 interviews, I said, can I have 10 minutes of your time? I appreciate you interviewing me. I'll share it to my list and social media. Can I have 10 minutes of your time? I want to run an idea by you. It might be a good fit, might not, but I just want to share with you something that could create an additional stream of cash flow for you. I'm not talking MLM. I'm not talking about starting a new business, but just a really simple way for you to do this. And they all said yes. So I got on Zoom and I could present this idea in 7 minutes or less. We could ask a few clarifying questions and we would be on to the next step by the end of the 15 minutes. And so what I would say is this: do you have next steps that you take guests through after they're on your podcast? And would you like to integrate one additional step into what you already have? They were willing. So I told them, these guests have told their story on your podcast. What if you asked every single person after the interview, would you like to take this one step further and share your story in a collaboration book, get published on Amazon, and get your story out in another medium and a different type of platform? And I said, if you ask that question and they say yes, this is what you'll send to them. So I already have a one sheet prepared for them. And if they say yes to that, here's the registration link you're going to send them. And I split the proceeds of that offer 50-50 with them. So I gave them every single piece so they didn't have to think of it. They didn't have to come up with it. And they began to ask every single guest this question: Well, this one idea generated over $600,000 in revenue. I split it 50-50 with podcast hosts. Several of them said yes to this idea. And this gave me access to circles I wouldn't necessarily have, to people who are my ideal client. And it gave them access to a stream of income and this ability to be the hero for their guests because they got to give them one more opportunity. So when I took these steps with podcast hosts, yes, it took a minute to cultivate the relationship, the trust. This is what you're doing. This is what I'm doing. But it was well worth it because just from this one idea, it gave me over $300,000 additional revenue. What I can tell you is if you have a plan and you're prepared, it is more than worth your time. But if you want true, meaningful relationships that lead to more revenue, more introductions, I will tell you, those podcast hosts, they invited me to all kinds of things. I ended up being a keynote speaker. I got asked to be on multiple summits, and I did the same for them because they were in the circle. This type of relationship happens over time when you have shown the other person you won't waste their time, that you have leadership skills, that you were willing to lead the way, and you'll create a plan that not only benefits you, but benefits them, and you will make it easy for them to execute it. And you will make sure that there is a payoff that is worth them doing a few extra things. So, as I said in the beginning, the good news is no matter who your circle is right now, that whatever networking group you're in, however you're doing this, you can make this better by making sure that after every single event, you're meeting with at least one person, preferably the most successful, shiny, prepared, high energy, amazing vibe person in the group. And if you can look at that every single time you network, if you spot the best person in the room who is radiating the most, and you will present them with this opportunity to meet for 15 minutes so that you can create this connection and continue the relationship, it will be more than worth your time. The other thing that I will say is this: if you don't like small talk and you don't like surface level, don't ask the same questions everybody else asks. If you say, hi, who are you? Where are you from? What do you do for a living? You're going to have the same conversation every networking event, and it will probably be nauseating to you. Instead, ask better questions. Hey, I'm Monique. I'm so happy to meet you. What are you excited about right now? What is your biggest vision for your life and business? What do you hope to accomplish in the next 5 years? What are you working on that is making you feel so excited to get out of bed? If you ask questions like that, you'll get better answers, and you can go way deeper in a shorter amount of time, because remember, you're not going to hold any one person hostage. You might just have 1, 2, 5 minutes with somebody, and then you're going to move on to the next person. Every single person who networks has the ability to leave people feeling like they are more clear on who they are, that they are more alive, that they are more passionate and excited. And if you're the person who sparks that in other people, you will be the person that everyone in the room wants to know and wants to stand closer to. Then you'll be receiving invitations to collaboration calls. And I'll just go ahead and warn you, you'll probably need to lead them because they probably won't have a plan, but you'll have them right where you want them. I would love for you to join me. I'm doing a 3-day event, Network Like the Rich. If you catch this in time, you can join live. If you don't catch this in time, you can get the replays. The first section is a live training for 20 minutes. Then I actually ask you to implement it. I give you steps and action items to go jump into immediately. And then the last section of the event is a Q&A. If you're already networking, and I don't have to sell you on the benefits of networking. If you're already networking, you're already in groups, you're already having conversations, you're already meeting people, but it's not leading to you expanding in 3 ways: expanding as a person, expanding in your bank account, and expanding the opportunities that you receive. I have a networker refresher that I'm offering. We take 1 hour and you tell me what you're currently doing, how you present yourself, what your asks are, what you do post event. I look at everything that's happening right now, and then I create a personalized strategy for you so that not only do you walk into every event with even more of a dynamic presence than you are now, but I help you refine 3 to 5 asks. Most people do not know how to make an ask in a networking group, not in a way where people immediately think of someone or who immediately want to help that person get where they want to go. And there's a wide variety of asks. Yes, there's an ask for a client, but there's even better asks. I want to show you how we can improve those so that you get exactly what you want every single time. And you can shuffle through these asks over the next quarter, over the next year, and it will always give you a real good bang for your buck and for your time investment as well. The other thing that I will do is I will help you create a format for your collaboration calls. So when you invite someone to a call, you know exactly what the agenda is, and you will know how to lead the first call, the second call, the third call. I'm going to teach you for your business specifically who are the best collaboration partners or referral partners. There are industries that overlap and are complementary. There's a way to figure out how your best client and their best client are one and the same, and how to each get your end of it. This is all delivered to you within 7 days, and then you have access to me in Messenger for clarifying questions so that you can actually get into motion with this new plan. Because here's the thing, you don't spend money to join networking events or masterminds. You do not dedicate hours of your week or your month to just socialize or to just show up and get to know more people. You're doing this because you want to make more money, you want to increase your visibility, you want to be known by more people, and you want to be in the best circles. I want to help you make it happen. All the details are in the description below. Happy networking. Until next time, get out there and remember, the depth of conversation is completely determined by you. And the depth of relationship, once again, the ball is in your court. And here's a few ways that you can do it. All right, I'll talk to you later.